This week on Fargo, Episode 6, The Lord of No Mercy, we take an ice bath with Ray and Nikki, get up close and personal with Varga's teeth, and have a family reunion with Emmett and Ray. But before I talk about this episode, I need you to hit subscribe because we have a whole lot more than just Fargo. How about American Gods? How about Twin Peaks? And how about that Game of Thrones trailer? Holy shit.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
We also cover a whole lot more, including anime, wrestling, comic books, movies, and more. Check it out. Episode 6 is different from others this season for a couple of reasons. First, a major character dies. I'll get to that later. Second, we get a double dose of the "this is a true story" line. As with every episode, it's the first text we see on the screen, but we also hear VM Varga utter the same sentence when he's giving his history lesson mixed with facts and fiction.
This is a true story.
First, he recalls the 2008 collapse of Lehman Brothers. Second, the coincidental circumstances that sparked World War I, which involved a sandwich. I looked this one up, it's not true. And finally, that the moon landing was produced from a soundstage in New Mexico.
That never happened.
Let each man say what he deems truth, and let truth itself be commended unto God.
And just like Sai, we, the audience, aren't going to believe this. And that's the point. Truth is a matter of perspective. You will believe whatever you deem to be true. And by the end of the episode, Varga recites an entirely new story, one that will hopefully keep Emmett out of prison. How about a couple of things we learned about Varga's muscle? Mimo is a multi-purpose tool. He's just as convincing with a gun as he is with a sharp suit and some paperwork. Goodbye IRS, at least for now. We also find out that Yuri has a wolf mask, and that he was the figure at the end of episode 5. One of my favorite moments from this episode was when VM Varga finally met face-to-face with Gloria Burgle. As Gloria and Winnie Lopez connect the dots for Emmett, Varga takes over complete control of the room. He brushes off their story with ease and sends them along, although Gloria sees right through him.
Are you suggesting somehow Ray Stassi isn't?
It's your story, Detective. I'm merely looking for clarification.
Chief, not detective.
My apologies.
Later on, we see Varga doing some background work on Gloria, but he can't seem to find information about her anywhere online. A quick Google search, nothing. How about Facebook? Nada. I was instantly reminded of her funny choice of words from episode 2.
I'm here, right? You see me?
Is that a trick question?
And it's those words that also echo Varga's sentiments later on in this episode.
Did anyone see you?
I'm so rarely seen. Maybe I don't even exist.
Just as Varga proclaims to be invisible, so too is Gloria. She's averse to all the technology around her. She's criticized by her boss Mo for not setting up the police station with computers, but that turns out it actually helped her stay off the grid. It really looks like Varga may have met his equal, and won't have as much ease in getting rid of her as he's had with opponents in the past. How about some other details I noticed in this episode? The motel, Ambassador Motor Inn, looked an awful lot like the motel in Sioux Falls from season 2. You know, the one with that bloody shootout and the UFO sighting? After a little Googling myself, unfortunately Sioux Falls and St. Cloud are too far from one another for this to be a reality, but it felt strikingly similar. And how about Ray for getting the damn getaway money back at home? Funny enough, I really wasn't surprised. It is a total Ray move, and it reminded me of Pulp Fiction when Butch had to go back to his apartment to grab his father's watch. I immediately had a very bad feeling about what would happen to Ray. Which brings us to the biggest moment from this episode and season 3. Ray returns home to grab the money and is surprised to find his brother there. Emmett showed up with a peace offering. He wants nothing more than a clean slate with his brother, and that includes giving Ray the stamp. But Ray wants a whole lot more than just the framed stamp. He wants his brother's respect. The brothers continue to argue over the stamp, physically pushing it back and forth until this happens.
Don't.
It's extremely horrific, tragic, and ironic. Ray has spent years plotting to get the stamp back in his possession. It set off a handful of violent events during season 3, and it's the object that literally kills him. Emmett, in a state of total shock, has no one else to turn to but Varga. This mirrors Lester Nygaard calling up Lauren Malvo after killing his wife in Fargo Season 1. So Emmett gets a hold of Varga, who happens to be listening to Beethoven while reciting some timely quotes about Lenin.
Do you know what Lenin said about Beethoven's Piano Sonata number 23? Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, not the bloody walrus.
That should sound hysterically familiar to any Coen Brothers fans out there. Remember this exchange from The Big Lebowski.
It's like Lenin said, you look for the person who will benefit and, I
am the walrus.
You'll, you know what I'm trying to say?
I am the walrus.
Oh, yeah.
I am the walrus.
Shut the Donnie. V.I. Lenin. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov.
If there is any upside to this, it's that Ray's death did ultimately save Nikki's life, at least for the time being. Mimo had been waiting at her motel to kill her, but he gets the call from Varga and is needed for the cover-up. During this sequence, there is an awesome Easter egg for Fargo fans. If you listen closely to the audio from the motel TV, it appears to be a sitcom version, even with a laugh track, of the events that happened in Season 2 of Fargo when Dodd Gerhardt is tied up by Peggy and Ed.
You stabbed the hostage? Yeah.
Did you stab the hostage?
Yes. No. Yes. I mean, I had to teach him some manners is all.
Keep her away from me. She's crazy.
We had to leave behind.
She's crazy. Keep her away from me.
Amazing. Don't forget, earlier this season, we saw the UFO sighting from Season 2 on Anastasi's TV. So does all this mean that these events actually happened? That the Fargo TV series is one adaptation of these real-world events? We're seeing one version of the story that it's based off of, but there are a handful of different versions out there, even one that's wrapped up as a sitcom. My mind is blown. Episode 6 wraps up with one final fictitious story from Varga, one that he hopes will cover up Ray's death. He was killed by his ex-convict girlfriend Nikki. Ray had been abusing her, beating her in places that don't show. This explains exactly why Yuri and Mimo kept Nikki alive and the precision they used in beating her up. We're left with one final shot of Gloria, who, despite all the hurdles in this case, isn't done yet. She doesn't believe in these random coincidences and that anyone is telling the truth.
Screw it.
Perhaps we've spent 6 episodes of Fargo underestimating Gloria. She's sharp, resourceful, determined, and invisible. And that's bad news for VM Varga. What was your favorite part from that episode? So many good moments to choose from. Let me know in the comments below. And also, click this button right here. That's subscribe. Because we have a whole lot more left in the season. Thanks for watching.